Hi, I'm Rita Cook, and welcome to this week's edition of Politics and How It Affects You. This week I have State Representative Carl Sherman, District 109 on. He's going to tell us a little bit about some of the things that are on the November 5th ballot. There's 10 propositions, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so there's some misconceptions, just one way or the other, like, how these things are read. So I've asked him to come on and tell us a little bit. So let's start with the Proposition 4, which is the income tax.
Yeah, thank you first of all, Rita, for having me on the show.
Absolutely.
Certainly this is a great opportunity to communicate with Texans about what's going on with this upcoming election for constitutional amendments. I want to say first of all that as you look at the ballot, I hope that every Texan knows that one of the things that has made us great as a state is our aversion to taxing, period.
Right.
I don't think that any legislator, from John Ray to myself in this area, or even to El Paso, South Texas, has ever run on trying to increase taxes or doing anything that's going to in any way add a new tax to our system. What Proposition 4 does, it's a constitutional amendment prohibiting the imposition of an individual income tax, including a tax on individuals, share of a partnership, and unincorporated association income. So what HJR 38 essentially does, it's like adding another protection.
Okay.
Many would say that the Texas Constitution already protects our fellow Texans from the state of Texas ever imposing a tax, a personal income tax.
Okay.
But the Constitution only imposes certain restrictions, including voter approval on any potential personal income tax. HJR 38 would provide a clear prohibition. So what we're essentially saying is, voters, we want you to also add another layer of protection that, it's going to take a real act of, 2/3 of the legislative body losing their minds and saying we want to add taxes.
And your jobs at some point if you're adding taxes, right?
Right.
Let me ask
now, some would say that this was a political amendment because, they would say the Constitution already protects it.
Right.
There is, I just don't see that ever happening.
Okay.
And so what this does is essentially give the voters a chance to add another protective layer.
So what do people need to vote? I go in and I say I want to add a protective layer. Do I need to vote no or yes?
Yeah, you would be in support of this. So let me tell you, I'd like to give you real briefly two sides of this.
Okay.
So the absence, for those who support it, came down to the state during the hearings. These were some of their comments. The absence of the state personal income tax is part of the business-friendly climate that attracts people and businesses to Texas is a contributing factor to our overall robust economy. The experience of other states suggests that a personal income tax tends to hinder economic development, wage growth, and prosperity while creating a large governmental bureaucracy, which we don't need another, to administer the tax. And then HJR would make it more difficult to impose a state personal income tax in the future because it would require a 2/3 vote of each chamber of the legislature that is required for the amendment. Now, that's from some of the comments during the hearing. And, state property tax, I mean state income tax, I just, when you put it to the voters, who's going to vote, hey, I want a state income tax. I want you to tax my payroll. I mean, the federal government's already doing it, so I just don't.
Well, like I was telling the woman here before, the political activist Penny Story, I used to live in Illinois where there are state income tax, and you can tell on your paycheck when you bring it home you get a lot more when you live in a state like Texas. I mean, this is a great state, so no, we
Absolutely.
do not want state income tax. So
Absolutely.
thank you for clearing that up, for letting everybody know so that they, have a little bit more understanding of that. Because these can get confusing, I think, sometimes.
Yeah.
Just for the common voter. So you wanted to talk about a couple of others. So what is the other, let's see, was it Proposition 6 that you wanted to chat about?
Proposition 6.
The
Yeah, cancer research.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that. What is that really doing?
Well, this amendment is to authorize the legislator to increase by $3 billion the maximum bond amount authorized for the Cancer Prevention and Research Institute of Texas.
Okay.
So by 2022, the current funds for the grants will run out.
Okay.
Statutory authority
Okay.
runs out and makes the grant expire in the state of Texas.
Okay.
So what this does is it would allow for an additional $3 billion for cancer research.
Okay.
Cancer is, with about 1.7 million new cases diagnosed each year.
That's
over
unbelievable.
600,000 people in America die from cancer every year. It is the second leading cause of death worldwide.
Yeah.
But with all the advancements we're making in heart research, heart disease, it is already forecasted that cancer will be #1 worldwide. But in the U.S.,
unbelievable.
I don't think there's a family that hasn't been touched
Exactly.
by someone having cancer. I just had a good friend, Michelle Ragland, who was a long time with TxDOT.
Right, exactly. Yes.
Was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer just at the end of September. She died October 3rd.
And I didn't even know she died. It was really,
Yeah.
I had two best friends that have been diagnosed with cancer, and thank goodness they're still alive. But it's something that affects everyone. It's not a matter of if, but when. So I think it's important. So this is just basically just allowing more money to go toward cancer research in our state.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we, we make so many advancements, but it's like Jesus said, "Where your treasure is, that's where your heart is."
Right.
And I am sick and tired of losing family and friends to cancer, and
I agree.
I think we need to put more resource to finding a cure.
Absolutely. So we're going to have to wrap this up, but we're going to bring him back next week if you'll come. So thank you, State Representative Sherman, and I'm Rita Cook, and we're Politics, How It Affects You.
Thank you.